Good evening and welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, May 20th, 2014. I've got it in my head.
Just planted that seed, I'm sorry.
Yes, you did. As we traditionally do, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation led by Mr. Jack Turner of the Lutheran Church here in Taft. So if you'd please rise and join me in the flag salute. Please salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your head and hats off. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask, Lord, that you bless this meeting this evening of the council meeting. Bless the councilmen, O Lord, that they may be able to achieve the agenda they have this evening, and it'll be beneficial to this city. We ask that you bless each and every one of them here this evening and give them a safe trip home. We ask this all in thy Son named Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. It's always a pleasure. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember North.
Here.
Councilmember Waldrop.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We begin tonight with several proclamations. The first one is a proclamation recognizing Public Works Week. Mr. Jones, do you have a report, or we just move into the... Okay. And I've asked Mr. Nord to present that tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It'd be my pleasure. City of Taft, State of California, proclamation declaring May 18th through the 24th, 2014, Public Works Week. Whereas the Public Works Department provides services to the City of Taft and are a vital part and integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the support of the community is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as building maintenance, streets, fleet maintenance, refuse collection, sewer line maintenance and construction, as well as wastewater treatment. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas the efficiency and effectiveness of the qualified and skilled staff contribute to the quality of life that residents and visitors enjoy and rely upon. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Taft that we recognize and extend appreciation to our dedicated and skilled staff, and hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2014 as Public Works Week in the City of Taft. And be it further proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Taft requests that all citizens and civic organizations acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing public works services to our community, and to recognize the contributions which our public works employees make every day to the health, safety, comfort, and quality of life that the citizens of Taft enjoy. Dated this 6th day of May 2014, signed by Mayor Paul Linder and all 4 council members.
All right. Do we have somebody that's going to accept this on behalf of the Public Works?
I believe we did.
It looks like we have...
Why am I not surprised?
Well,
I don't think I've ever seen him with that orange shirt.
yeah. It's kind of like...
down there, you guys are always working and running here.
Actually, we like to get a picture in front of the seal too, so this is kind of like Beauty and the Beast.
Let's do it up here then.
We'll do it.
I'm just a good soldier. You heard what the mayor said.
It's like we get real nervous when I cameras.
Oh, no, not at all.
He's all shy about it.
I just know some.
No, I'm fine.
See that?
Oops. Now let's get, Randy, you and Dave, you and Ron want to get in there?
We kind of snuck in, what the heck?
Come on, slide on in here.
Okay, that would have been a great, better thing. That would have
Big
been.
happy family.
Yeah. Now we know why the last word on the contract was 3 to 2. Okay, here we go. On the count of 1, 2, 3. Okay, works for me.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're smiling, why not?
Both of you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
From all of the people in the
Yes.
city of Taft. Appreciate
All our
it.
employees, thank you.
Well, please tell them, Art, we appreciate it
Okay,
very much.
thanks, Randy.
I lost my chair.
The mayor's chair, it says mayor.
It says on the back, like a director.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'd like to add a little something. Anybody who wasn't around the streets as we prepared for our last Oil Dorado celebration really missed the boat. If ever our Public Works Department shined, if ever they were under the gun, I mean, they were out there pouring down sweat all hours of the day. Nothing held them back from completing every task that they were asked to do. And when their schedule was full, they took on more jobs and more responsibility and made it all happen. And obviously, history will judge them, as they were a big part of this city putting together the most incredible Oil Dorado in the history of the city of Taft. So
Far.
so far, yes, that's right. I beg your pardon, President of Old Dorado. So that has not been forgotten. Just as surely as the monument will live on forever, I will tell you that my memories and recollections of seeing you guys and gals out there dripping sweat, soaking wet, still working until the sun went down, I will never forget that, and I greatly appreciate what you did for the people of the city of Taft and this city. So thank you very much. Fun, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Norr, we appreciate those
Yeah, and
comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I could
Yes.
too, I want to thank all the departments. I know that the Public Works gets a lot of attention because they're seen out in the community, and a lot of our employees aren't seen. And I'd like to think that the whole city staff is doing just as good a job, and we do appreciate all that they do for us all the time. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Waldrop, any comments?
I agree that a lot of people don't get the credit they deserve.
Thank you. Mr. Grimes?
No comment.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation of Motorcycle Awareness Month, and I've asked Mr. Miller to please present that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a proclamation here. City of Taft, State of California, proclamation declaring May 2014 Motorcycle Awareness Month. Whereas motorcycle riding is a popular form of efficient transportation and recreation for more than 1 million motorcyclists in California, and whereas it is important that all drivers of all vehicles be aware of one another and learn to share the road and practice courtesy. Whereas motorcycles provide a means of transportation that uses fewer resources, causes less wear and tear on public roadways, and increases available parking spaces. And whereas the safety hazards created by automobile operators who have not been educated to watch for motorcyclists on the streets and highways of California are of prime concern to motorcyclists, for sure. And citizens' awareness of sharing the road is vital to making the road safer for all motorcyclists. And whereas American Brotherhood aim toward education, which is ABATE, of California, Local 40 of Bakersfield, this is an organization that is actively promoting the safe operation, increased rider training, and increased motor awareness of motorcycles. Now therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Taft does hereby declare the month of May 2014 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in our city, and urge that all citizens acknowledge motorcyclists and promote motorcycle safety in our community. Signed this date, 20th of May, 2014, signed by Mayor Paul Linder and the all four council. So do we have, gentlemen, you're here? Come on up, you get a shot with us too.
Right on over out of the way there.
There's no X on the floor.
No, you're in a good spot, right here.
Hey,
Get on in there.
Yeah.
Get on in there.
Here we go, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Your name, sir?
Robert Zamora from Local 8, Bakersfield.
Robert, if you'd like to stand at the podium, we'd like to hear a few words from you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Got you up and down more than
Keep me loose.
Yeah.
If you come up, yeah, just state your name and your address, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Robert Zamora, Bakersfield, Local 40, Abate. I'm just saying, Abate, a few words what Abate is all about and what we do. What is Abate? Abate is a motorcyclist ride organization. It's not a club. It's dedicated to preserving freedom of choice and freedom of road with emphasis on education and safety. Our members are active in programs for public awareness on motorcycle safety and in supporting many types of charity events. We have a monthly meeting, which is tonight, for the first Tuesday of the month. We help out, we have questions or answers on motorcycle safety or awareness. We talk about California laws that affect motorcyclists, all the United States. Especially on motorcycle helmets. FYI, there's a bill on the Senate bill that they're requiring all motorcyclists helmets, even off-road vehicles, which they do abide by the helmets. But there's a bill in the Capitol that now are starting to require farm workers on their ATVs and things to wear a helmet. So I don't know how it's going to come out. We're trying to be supportive with, I think there's a farm association, so they're not aware of what it might affect them as the ranchers for the workers wearing helmets. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for the proclamation. And I said, I know there's a lot of bikers in Taft that go to Bakersfield that support us and we support them. And it's, like I say, we're not about clubs names, it's motorcyclists all the way around. So thank you again for the proclamation.
Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Doug.
All right.
Thank you. Well, as a motorcycle rider, one thing I agree in the proclamation is for motorists to look out for motorcycles, because when I ride, that's what I'm looking out for, and that's the biggest danger on the road is people turning left in front of motorcycles. So we're always looking for those left turners because they don't seem to see us coming sometimes. So please be aware out there and be safe. Thank you, sir. Be safe on your way home.
Yes.
Gentlemen, any other comments?
None, thank you, Mr.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the third proclamation of the evening, Petroleum Industry Appreciation Month. The City of Taft, State of California proclamation declaring May 2014 Petroleum Industry Appreciation Month. Whereas the City of Taft, having been born from the discovery, recovery, and production of the natural resources on the west side of Kern County, and also was the beginning of many independent producers who became large companies of today. And whereas in Kern County and California, the petroleum industry provides resources for communities, pays taxes that provide dependable and strong support for civic services, and generates labor income that represents the goals of many generations for improved education, health, and living conditions. Whereas Kern County produces 75% of California's oil and employs more than 48,000 men and women in the petroleum industry, and those jobs make up over 12% of the county's workforce. And whereas the petroleum industry is a major employer and leading economic driver in California and Kern County, responsible for more than 468,000 jobs and more than $220 billion in direct economic activity throughout the state. Whereas the oil industry provides significant contributions to California's state and local governments with more than $21.6 billion in state and local tax revenues and $14.7 billion in state sales and excise taxes. And whereas the oil companies invest locally in education, health, culture, and economic development, often donating to churches, public services, organizations, and educational institutions while considering the sustainability, health, and safety of our environment. That's a mouthful. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the City Council of the City of Taft does hereby declare the month of May 2014 as Petroleum Industry Appreciation Month, and appreciates the petroleum industry for their continued commitment to drive California and Kern County's economic recovery and energy future by providing good jobs, reducing our dependence on foreign oil, and helping to strengthen our community. It is dated this day, the 20th day of May 2014. It is signed by myself, Mayor Pro Tem Cryer, and council members Miller, Knorr, and Waldron. I don't think we have any, oh, no, we do have an oil.
Yes, we do.
I didn't see you, Susan. I don't know if you'd like to come up and accept this on our behalf, but we'd be honored to have you. Wonderful. Please come up.
Okay, here we go again.
Yeah, this is the last time, I promise. It's a little cramped up here, but it does make it somewhat cozy. All right.
Ooh, we got Ron's good side. All right, ready? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Susan, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. If you'd like to make a statement, you're more than welcome. Thank you.
Very cute.
Okay, that's the mayor's chair. Don't get you mixed up. Got it all warmed up.
I don't know what the commission's doing here.
Checked.
Well, this is my lucky night to be here at the occasion of this proclamation. And I must tell you, on a day where today, 3 other communities in California are either considering or have passed initiatives or measures or ordinances that will severely restrict the operation of our industry in those locations. It is extremely refreshing to be here in Taft and to be in a community that is not only knowledgeable about our industry, what we do, how we do it, our safety, our professionalism, and the value that we bring economically to the community. But so to be in a community that's not only knowledgeable about what we do, but values it and appreciates it. It's very, very rewarding, and I thank you very much on behalf of our industry.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Susan. Gentlemen, any other comments? We good? All right, very good, thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda is the presentation of the proposed fiscal year 2013-14 budget, and in a effort to allow council and the public to look at this document a little closer, we're going to postpone this approval until the next meeting. And we were also scheduled to have a presentation by the city, not the treasurer, but the city finance director. And she texted me just a few minutes ago and told me that Ed Whiting could give this presentation, so. Looking at the chief, he looks like he just became sick too. Sorry, chief, I had to do it. But anyway, we're going to postpone this until our next council meeting. Okay, so the next item is citizens' request for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issues not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes, and the only person wishing to speak tonight is Kathy Orrin with the Chamber.
Thank you. Just wanted to let you know that Sit and Sips go on every Wednesday at 9 a.m. at the Chamber, and we have been very popular recently with those running for assessor recorder. So you've seen signs around town with Russell Johnson as a candidate. Russell came and spoke at a Sit and Sip a couple weeks ago. Last week, John Lifquist came and talk to us. And tomorrow, Lupe Esquivias will be coming. So if you want to know everything you possibly could know about the Assessor Recorder's Office, and maybe some things that you really didn't care about, you can still come. There's good coffee and good donuts, and we invite everybody. The week after, we will be hosting our County Supervisor, David Couch, and it's always wonderful to have David and his entourage come because he is so easy to talk to, and it's always nice to visit with him. We want to throw our support to our Public Works folks because we appreciate so much their willingness to help us out, and they do a wonderful job helping us out at the Chamber, especially when we have events. So congratulations to the Public Works Department of the city. We appreciate them. And also, we want to say how excited we are that the Petroleum Industry Appreciation Rally is coming along nicely. And we had a little meeting today, and things are happening. Our phone is ringing, and people are wanting to get on board. Shannon issued another update to our press release, and we've already received some information from folks from that. So Thursday, May 29th at the Fort at 5 p.m. And get there early because there's going to be a lot of folks there. That's the Petroleum Industry Appreciation Rally, Thursday, May 29th at the Fort, 5 p.m. And I presume we will be finished in enough time for people to see the free showing of Frack Nation, which will be at the Fox Theater at 7. And also at 2 that afternoon, is that also right, Craig? So if you can't go at 7, you can go early at 2 p.m., the same day, the 29th, and be able to see that. And it's delightful. You'll like it. It's a good documentary. I want to announce the Chamber Rails to Trails Car, Truck, and Motorcycle Show, which happens on the Rails to Trails Saturday, May 31st. And if you are out there in TV land and you are wanting to have a food truck, if you haven't signed up already, you're too late. Just saying. So we've got plenty of good food coming, and lots and lots of entries. We still are taking entries. So that is Saturday, May 31st on the Rails to Trails. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll move on to council statements and non-action. Mr. Waldron.
I have none, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to reiterate what Kathy had to say about our Oil Industry Appreciation Month. I'd like to encourage the public education here in Taft, especially in the middle school and high school and college, to go to the 2 o'clock showing or 7 o'clock showing and watch Frack Nation. Get some really good education from that. It's free. If the schools are able to do it, the principals are able to have buses go there and for a couple hours or an hour and a half to view it. That'd be a great education for the students here to learn the truth about fracking. And but also is it's a good opportunity for the public to ask questions. We have a lot of good people here, powerful people, that have good information from the state and everything, and address their concerns about fracking and also about the consequences of the severance tax. It's really good to have them here to listen, ask the questions. They're here to serve us, the people, citizens here at Taft and in Kern County. Anybody in Kern County, different cities that have questions, especially in Arbon. They need to have their council here and their people are concerned, come and see and get educated and then determine what the right decision that different cities can make concerning fracking and the several taxes coming up, and then ask a lot of questions that need to be asked. But it is really important, because people don't realize that once things happen, once they ban fracking or put a moratorium on fracking, it's hard to revert back. It's hard to get the industry back into our area or in California. Costs for our citizens who are working in the oil industry, lose their jobs, have to relocate. There's always a consequence. Every reaction has consequences to that. And you need to look at really slow and people make their decision about that. They think raising taxes on oil is a good thing. Not necessarily. We raised on a severance tax, if you raise it up to 9.5%, your fuel tax is going to triple. Any kind of thing you do with petroleum base, cosmetic, medicine, agriculture, for fertilizer. So many things are made out of petroleum, and it's imaginable how we live our lives with it, and that all will go up higher. Yet, people bring in oil from out of state into California, they're not taxed. So why are we being penalized? Why is our citizens being penalized? Why is our business here being penalized? Other questions that they need to ask before they make, our politicians make rash decisions in passing different laws that has consequences on us. For every money that we pay in taxes, that's less disposable income we have to go to restaurants, buy a new car, or buy a ring for your loved ones, or whatever. You know, it's money from our own pockets that we can't spend. Who better than ourselves know how to spend our money? But I just wanted to say that, and everybody come on this month, on the 29th at 5 o'clock, go to the fort, go there and get educated and ask the questions that you have your concerns are, and help support the oil industry. It has done so much for our communities throughout California, not just here in Taft, but throughout California, that they have done. And I just want to thank the people who will come and thank the oil industry people here, and give us the quality of life that we have to enjoy today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. Mr. Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I unfortunately am not going to be here. I have some other commitments, and I was saddened when I found out that I wouldn't be here for the Oil Industry Appreciation Week. But I will tell you that there isn't a day that goes by that I don't appreciate the oil industry. I am one of those people who has made my living working in the petroleum industry. I began working in the petroleum industry in January 11th of 1981 as the lowest paid weed cutting roustabout they hired on in those days. I cut those weeds and I painted those guardrails, and I used to bust out flow lines made out of 2 7/8 8-round tubing. That's something that you don't hear anything about these days, but back in the day when the derricks were made of wood and men were made of steel, that's the kind of stuff we did. I have done those jobs, worked my way up all the way up to a foreman's job for the big oil companies, and then retired from them and went into business as a contractor. I've worked as a contractor now for 22 and a half years. The vast majority of our work, mine and all our employees, is oil field related. I have raised my children, my employees have raised their families, and fortunately for me, I got to do most of it right here in the city of Taft. It's interesting if you watch the way government tries to get you to buy a pack of lies, especially concerning taxes. The best way to tax is to divide and conquer. They're always wanting to point the finger at somebody else, so you're not going to get hit hard if you tax that other guy. Or obviously you're paying something now, so if they're making money, they've got to be the bad guy. Typically, those who push higher taxes always point at the cost of a gallon of gasoline. Look at those oil companies. Look at all the money they're making on a gallon of gasoline. And yet government is never quick to tell you just how much of the cost of a gallon of gasoline is directly related to their taxes that they're collecting and distributing and utilizing or abusing, as the case may be, along with environmental compliance. If you look at that, truly, every step of the way from going out and looking for oil and discovering oil and turning it into a producible venture on a commercial level, and then you produce it and you clean it and you get it to market and you refine it, and then it finally gets delivered to the gas station. Everybody along the way that touches that gallon of gasoline They're paying taxes, they're supporting jobs, those people that work for them are paying taxes, they are all paying environmental impact fees, and they're paying for environmental compliance. I know this for a fact. By the time you collect the $4, let's say, on a gallon of gas, I'd be willing to bet you right now that better than 60% of that is directly related to tax or environmental compliance. Oil companies today take environmental compliance extremely seriously. Like I say, I've been involved in this for some 33, 34 years. There's not a year that goes by that I am not required by every one of my customers, and I work for every oil company out there, to take annual refresher training concerning environmental responsibility, concerning endangered species, concerning safety, all these things. You don't have to do that often for your driver's license, do you? You certainly have to do it for a marriage license. That's a one-time deal. They figure you got that one figured out. But you do it every year, year in and year out. And every time a new regulation comes along in those oil companies, be it the small independents or the largest corporations in this globe, they take it very seriously. And that is rolled down to the level of the contractors. And I have to roll it to every one of my employees. And if we don't talk about that every day, I just cannot imagine it. It's very serious. It's taken very serious. I cannot imagine a place on this globe that can more responsibly and ethically produce hydrocarbons than these United States of America. We owe it to ourselves, if nothing else. If we truly want to clean the planet, then the best thing we can do for everybody else is produce all the oil and natural gas we can right here in America. Because if you've been other places out of this country where they do it, where they produce any other consumable goods, you will know what a great job we do. And we police ourselves to the nth degree. It's a wonderful place to work, I will tell you. I'm so happy to be fortunate enough to make a living in the industry. I'm proud to make a living in the industry, and I don't care what I pay for a gallon of gas, because I know what goes into it. And even those people who get up in the morning in Santa Barbara and eat that tofu wheat muffin before they unplug their electric car to go to a GOO meeting owe it to the oil companies, because 80% of the electricity they use to charge that electric car comes from hydrocarbons. So no matter who you are, or what you do, or what side of this you choose to take, you use hydrocarbons every day, every single day. So I appreciate it. I support it. It supported my family, and it will continue for quite some time. But know this, if we beat up on them unnecessarily and these ridiculous taxes are unwarranted, if we do those things, will they pack up and leave? No, they can't take their reservoir with us. But you know what they will do? They'll take their capital money. They'll take their investment. We will stack out drilling rigs. We are already feeling the pain of delays for fracking. We're telling you, it's happening right now. People are laying off employees. They're moving to places like Texas that's business friendly. And we are already feeling the negative impact in this community and in this state in dollars and jobs. So it'll only be worse by many, many times. So I'm glad that you brought this forward. I'm glad that we as a community have the opportunity. I think we get it here. There was a severe hiccup in the city of Marvin. Man, I don't know where they're coming from. But anyway, Kern County gets it. Our representatives get it in the biggest way. We just have to do everybody a favor and inform those who don't understand how much they depend on this industry that they do, indeed, and it deserves their support. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Knorr, as always. Mr. Miller?
Yes, and I totally agree, Mr. Knorr. We are the quintessential oil town, and it's not like we're a one-horse town, but it's pretty much. And so we see it every day, and we appreciate what's being done out there. Compared to 50 years ago, and the things were kind of a little wilder. It's all good, safe, and clean, and we need oil. And how we want the people in California want to kill an industry here, and then import oil, and then we're sending our dollars out of this state for their jobs and for buying that oil or imported oil from Venezuela or wherever else it's coming. It's just more than silly. It's crazy. So I want to apologize for not being here the last council meeting. I happened to be on vacation. I did visit a creek that was just slightly bigger than Sandy Creek. We went to the Grand Canyon, so it was very nice, and it was very enjoyable. I got to go with a couple of childhood friends and their wives, and we had a great time. So sorry I wasn't here, but apparently the town didn't fall apart with me being gone, so I'm back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I only have a couple comments. First of all, with the pending elections that are coming up on June 3rd, the Kern County Division of Elections, Department of Elections, has sent out a request. They're looking for election polling place workers, which I'm kind of surprised at, because when I used to go to the polls, it seemed like the same person was there for the 30-plus years I was doing it, but I do absentee now. But if you're interested in becoming an elections poll worker, I'm just going to say you only have to be a registered voter, and that can be in the state of California. But
Over the age of 18.
I think to be a registered voter, you have to be over the age of 18, correct? Mr. Jordan, do you work the polls?
Yes.
I thought you did. Yes, okay.
It's a volunteer position.
It's a volunteer position, but it does come with a huge paycheck. It's actually bigger paycheck than the council gets for a one-day gig. But anyway, they are willing to pay $110 for each volunteer for the full day, but you will have to have some training, which they also give you a minimal payment for that. But if you're interested in being one of these poll workers and volunteering, I don't know how you volunteer and get paid, but however that works, I'm going to ask you to contact Alina Megerdom, the city clerk here, and she will have information that she can disseminate to you, correct?
Yes, Mayor, I still have 2 copies.
Oh, okay. There's information available here in the chambers tonight, too. So, this is a great way to do civic duty. There's a lot of people that do this, and I know they do it for more reasons than that huge check they get, but it's a great way to do civic duty. I wanted to comment a little bit on the situation in Arvin. On my way to council meeting tonight, I heard that the Arvin City Council had placed on their agenda a proclamation, or a resolution, I should say, that would be non-supportive of fracking in the oil industry. And I kind of caught me, and I had to listen to it. And somehow or another, the issue that's going on in Arvin, I will tell you, and what I've been told, I can't confirm the accuracy, but the bottom line is these homes that were affected by this noxious gas that's going on over there are relatively new homes, and I was told that the leaking gas is coming from a pipeline that's running underneath these homes, which when the homes were built, the pipeline was supposed to have been moved some 100, 200 yards away from these houses, and evidently it wasn't. So I'm sure they're backtracking to find out what happened there. But to blame a leaking pipeline that's underneath houses that's not supposed to be there on fracking is ludicrous, first of all. I don't know how this got on the council agenda. I believe over there it takes only one person to place an item on the agenda, where this city council requires 2, one to concur and one to present, and I think that's a smart way to do it. But don't let this sort of thing go off and become hysterical, because this pipeline had absolutely nothing to do with the process of getting oil out of the ground. It's a pipeline, for heaven's sake. So I appreciate the council being proactive on not only the petroleum recognition that we did tonight, but also the event that will happen in a week or so. And as Mr. Miller said, we were built on oil. This town was built on oil. And this town is going to be here for a long time because there's still a lot of oil out there. And we need to experience those processes that make the oil extraction not only easier, but more complete. There's reserves that are being left in the ground right now, and we need to exercise our right to pull those out and sustain our economy. So that's my statement for the evening. We will move on to department reports. Any department reports tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to city manager statements.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out tonight on item number 18, it's on the consent calendar, if it's not pulled, is a surplus items that the city has to offer. I just wanted folks to know that the auction site is publicsurplus.com. So if they're interested in possibly purchasing some city equipment, that's the website to keep an eye on. Again, that's publicsurplus.com. Update on the PetSmart spay and neuter program. The city was a recipient of a grant from PetSmart for $50,000. So far to date, I believe we started in January, we've spayed or neutered 361 dogs in the greater Taft area, and we have funding available for 259 more, so that should put a real dent in our future pet population. And one more item is an update on the Sandy Creek Estates. Today, the city was able to issue a grading permit for that project, so hopefully in the near future, we will see some dirt being moved in that area.
Hallelujah.
So that's positive, so
Very good.
that's all I have.
Hope the public realize how long we've been waiting for that. Wow.
And the Sandy Creek Estates is the housing development that's going to go west of Hillard Street. For those of you that don't know, it's a prime piece of property, and it's going to be a great location, and we're hoping somewhere between 3 and 350 or so homes will eventually be there, which is huge for the city of Taft. We appreciate that. Okay, city attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
Thank you. Are there any future agenda requests, gentlemen?
Thank you.
The high school is producing quite a few Valley Championship teams. Just the tennis team just finished up, captured Valley. I think the softball, girls softball, and maybe the girls JV, boys Wildcat baseball. I'm wondering if we can't have staff look into or contact the high school, and maybe we can give the kids a little recognition on what they've accomplished, because it's been a tremendous year, plus the fact that we have a band that is just out of this world, and what the band has done and is doing for these kids and then for the community. They've got about a 30-piece small, I'm going to say jazz band, but they play all kinds of music, and they're just fabulous. And so I think we should maybe check with Matt Henry at the Driller or athletic director down at the high school and see if we can't get some recognition, either a proclamation or something to these championship teams.
I concur.
I agree. That's a great idea, Mr. Miller. I will say that we probably need to move rather quickly, because we will have one more council meeting before school is adjourned or dismissed for summer break. So if staff could contact, I know the high school would probably be the best. Their athletic director or even their superintendent had made an announcement that it was the first time the tennis team had taken the Valley Championship ever, and so that's pretty impressive. So, and we've done that before. I would like to do that. That would be a great idea. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller. All right, we will move on then to the consent calendar, items 12 through 21. All items on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Gentlemen, do you wish anything to be removed from the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor, I would request we remove number 12, please.
Number 12, okay. I already had that circled.
I thought perhaps.
For discussion only, I need 14 and 17.
14 and 17. Okay. And I'm going to ask number 18 be removed, just for clarification. So, that takes care of our consent calendar. So I would entertain a motion to approve item 13, 15, and 16, 19. Oh, you know what, I apologize. Forget about 18, I want to leave it on there. It was item 20 I'd like to pull. So again, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, and 21.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes?
Councilmember Waldrop,
Yes.
Councilmember Noor,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Yes.
Mayor Linder,
Yes. Thank you. Okay, we'll move back to the minutes, and I think I understand why this is being pulled, and I was going to ask for it to be pulled anyway for clarification. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 8th, 2014 special meeting and the minutes for May 6th, 2014 regular meeting.
Motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor, but I will have to abstain.
We have a motion, so you'll make
Oh,
the
I beg your
second?
pardon.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's fine. So now we can move to discussion. And Mr. Waldrop, I think,
On the minutes,
yes.
well, there was only 3 of us at the special meeting. I think that's why.
Correct. That's why it's back on the
Yeah.
agenda tonight, so.
That's,
So any other comments?
Yes, meeting of May 6th, I was not in attendance.
Correct. We've been trying to get these minutes corrected, and approved, so, so it looks like, I'm sorry, Mr. Cray?
I have to abstain from April 8th.
Correct. And I believe, Mr. Noor, you're doing the same.
Yes, that is correct.
So, in order to approve these, should we do them one at a time for clarification? All right, we'll move on to April 8th, 2014 special meeting. Mr. Cryer and Mr. Noor will be abstaining. We know that, so I need a motion to approve those minutes.
We already,
motion.
we've already made the
Well, we
motion.
made it for both, but we're gonna
Okay.
go back and make it individual.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We've had discussion, so may we have a roll call on the April 8th?
Councilmember Waldrop,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Noor,
I'll abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Also will be abstaining.
Mayor Linder,
Yes, and that passes on a 3-2 vote with 2 abstentions. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the May 6, 2014 regular meeting. And Mr. Miller, I believe you'll be abstaining from this one because you were absent, so.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waldrop,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Yes.
Councilmember Noor,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Abstain?
Mayor Linder,
Yes, and that passes on a 4-1 vote with 1 abstention. We got past it.
Technically, it's 4-0 vote with 1 abstention.
Is that how it works? Okay, thank you for the clarification. Okay, we'll move on to item number 14, second reading zoning ordinance amendment related to a vacant building registration ordinance. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Chapter 4.3 of Title 3 of the Taft City Code and Chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11 of Title 6 of the Taft City zoning ordinance relating to a vacant building registration ordinance.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to to approve and amend the City of Taft zoning ordinance entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Chapter 4.3 of Title 3 of the Taft City Code and Chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11 of Title 6 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance related to vacant building registration ordinance.
I'd like to discuss.
Well, we need a motion. and a
Okay,
second.
okay. I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Walter.
Well, the reason I brought this up, I've had 3 different people come to me, ask, well, they didn't say it in nice words, but I don't think they understand that if you have a business and you're using these buildings, I don't think this affects them like they're thinking it does, because they're already paying their sewer, garbage, and street sweeping.
This is only pertaining to vacant building.
And a lot of them don't understand it, and they're even thinking that the city thinks they got some vacant buildings there, which they don't. By the reading of the letter, it's confusing. So I just wanted it over the public television that this is for the empty buildings, which this is affecting, get everybody to pay their fair dues. And it's commercial buildings only, is that correct?
At this time, I believe so. Citywide, yeah. It's the inventory of all vacant buildings.
That's what they don't understand, and I would just wanted to clarify we come and bugging me.
But if it's empty, it's empty, but if it has storage stuff in it, I don't know, but I would presume that it's now being used. So you can't say it's empty.
Right.
If you got stuff in it. And if you've got a restroom in it, you've got running water in it,
Yep.
then you're using city services.
Correct.
So you may not be using a lot of sewer or garbage or whatever, but you are using it. And so that's what we tried to make fair about this ordinance.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rent house. Even if it's empty, you still got to pay for all those things.
That's true. Sure.
Well, and if anyone has any questions, they can contact our planning department.
Yeah.
And they can provide information and explanation.
Well, I understood about it, but they didn't believe me, so I wanted it on TV.
Well, we discovered kind of a secondary good of this ordinance, and that is that when somebody comes to town and they're looking for a place to set up shop, now the city will have a fairly current registration of those vacant buildings that might fit their need, and whether, they don't have to go out and call 50 different people. The city can maybe funnel them in 3 different directions as
We
far as...
assisted someone today into a vacant property for a business expansion.
There you go. So I think this is probably long overdue, and this is going to go in conjunction with the sewer refuse fees for vacant buildings and things like that. But I think it's important that those that have property, number one, it's going to open their building for some minimal inspection, which I think is critical, especially for their neighbors on either side of their buildings. If they are being used for storage, they could be considered a fire hazard if it's not properly done. I mean, there's a multitude of things that will make this better for everybody. So, okay, very good. We have any other comments on that, gentlemen? We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waldron.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Norm.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor.
Yes.
Mayor Linder.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before we continue, I want people to know that they've probably seen me up here fiddling with my phone, but I'm not getting my agenda on my iPad, so I'm going to my phone to get the agenda and the documentation, the backup. So I want everybody to know I'm not up here texting and messing around on my phone. I am reading the agenda.
Well, you were texting me.
Pictures of girls.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, I thought he was playing Candy Crush.
Actually, it's Angry Birds. Okay, thank you, Mr. Miller.
I'm okay.
All right, we will move on to item number 17, which is engineering task orders for the Municipal Wastewater Treatment Plant USDA Loan Project. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. In November of 2010, staff advertised a request for qualifications for interested engineering firms to make a proposal to the City of Taft to complete a large-scale maintenance project at the Taft Municipal Wastewater Treatment Plant. Project scope included replacement of equipment currently used at the Taft wastewater stream and was estimated at $3 million. In December of 2010, 3 responsive engineering firms submitted proposals of qualifications that were rated. Following scope modifications, interviews were conducted in May 2011. Wallace Group was top-ranked engineering firm. Staff was given directions to begin negotiations with the Wallace Group. Final proposal that included task 1 for financing assistance, and 2 for pre-engineering report, 3 for final design and award, and 4 for construction services in the amount of $528,700 was negotiated in fall 2011. On October 4th, 2011, staff presented the proposal to the Taft City Council with the recommendation to the city to enter into an agreement with Wallace Group to complete tasks 1 and 2 for a total cost of $41,500 to be funded out of the Municipal Wastewater Treatment Plant Fund, with the understanding that the authorization was for remaining tasks would return to council once financing for the project was secured. In late 2011, early 12, several potential financing programs were explored, and the most cost-effective program identified was a loan through the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA Rural Utility Services Department. During the USDA formal application process, additional documentation approvals were required for such as reuse, as well as considerable coordination with Kern Sanitation Authority. Due to these unforeseen circumstances, staff presented 2 change orders to Task 1 and 2 to the City Council, one for $15,000 January 15, 2013, and one for $35,000 on March 19, 2013. The result of these efforts is a 40-year loan that was secured in April 2014 in the amount of $3,619,000 at a 2.5% interest rate. The loan covers all phases of the project, including administration, legal, engineering, and construction, including expenditures that have been incurred to date. Now that the funding has been secured, staff is recommending to the City Council that Tasks 3 and 4 be initiated with Wallace Group. The following is a breakdown of the Wallace Group contract, including sub-consultants.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Waldrop, you asked this be...
Well, I didn't see, aren't we partners with Kern County?
That's Kern Sanitation Authority.
So that,
That's the coordination that we're working with, yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
sharing. That was the only thing I was curious about.
And
I wanted to hear him talk.
it's a 40-year loan, which none of us plans on carrying that loan out for 40 years. There's no early payoff penalty. The bottom line is the City of Taft will be responsible for 52% of that loan. The county will be responsible for 48%.
Good.
And I believe our plan is to try to have it paid off in 10 years.
Good.
We don't want our loan to exceed the expected life expectancy of the site. It's been a long road, as you can see, the timeline dates on this, it's been a long time, but it's right in the nick of time because our plan
When do we
is-
expect construction or the actual?
The engineering design phase will probably take until the first of the year next year. We're hoping that we'll start construction early spring next year.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments, gentlemen? Well, I will say that I've had the pleasure to sit in on most of these meetings with the Public Works Department, and, to put it bluntly, our cup is running over out there. I mean,
Maybe not the cup, but the coffee maker is about broken.
However you look at it, we're just about at full capacity at our wastewater treatment plant. Now, you heard us talk earlier that we're, hoping for 350, 400 new homes. Well, let me tell you, they produce effluent also, and guess where it's going to go? So this has been long overdue. This is stuff that has needed to be done. We've been putting Band-Aids on it out there. This is going to make Taft very viable in the future because they're going to have a viable wastewater treatment plant that can service everybody. So,
And if you remember, the project 7 years ago was $34.9 million.
Yeah.
Not to say it's comparable, but it will do its job.
yeah, it's not quite the Cadillac of wastewater treatment, but it's going to be the
It's not what a
Toyota Corolla.
consultant wanted to sell us, but
That's
what
right. It'll serve us well in the future, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
I thought we did. I apologize. We have a motion and a second. Now may we have a roll call?
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Noor?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. Okay, lastly, we'll move on to item number 20, ratify the execution, never mind. Ratify the execution of the revised LexisNexis Law Library Agreements. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council ratified the execution of the LexisNexis Law Library Agreement at April 15th meeting. Due to the changes in staff access within the agreement with LexisNexis and the requirements for CDCR, the agreement with LexisNexis needs to be revised. The previous executed contract is voided and is replaced with attached agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'd entertain a motion to ratify the signing of the revised LexisNexis agreement by the mayor.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have none, Mr. Mayor.
I had this item pulled because I just wanted to make a comment that, the CCF reopening has been a blessing to the city because eventually the revenue from that facility is going to make it better for everybody in the community. But I wanted people to know that a lot of times information like this goes through on a consent calendar because it's just business. But what most people don't understand is this law library that we're going to be spending about $10,000 a year on is for the prisoners in the CCF. Now, they already have better health care than most of us. They already have better dental than most of us, free room and board, cable TV, a commissary that they can enjoy, and they have every right that you wouldn't believe to complain about the issue or the facility they're in. The only difference is they just can't leave. And so now, under our new contract, the state is requiring us to provide them with a law library so they can further study ways to either sue us or sue the state or find ways around it. And I think it's important that the public understand that we are spending an inordinate amount of money housing prisoners, and I'm just trying to figure out when it became a country club and not an incarcerating facility. And the whole comment about executing this revised LexisNexis, I just love using the word execution when it comes to prisoners. But see, I can be frank too, Mr. North.
Very good, well said.
But I think it's very important that we understand that there is a lot of money being spent on people that violate our rights and then typically have more rights than we do on the outside. So it's important you understand that if you want to change this, and I'm not blaming the state for this, I'm blaming those liberal, bleeding heart idiots that think that prisoners who commit crimes against the law-abiding citizens should have more rights or even the rights they have. And so I think it's important the public understand that this is another $10,000 that's being spent for prisoner law acquisition so that they can further their lawsuits against the state and the law-abiding citizens. So anyway, I'll get off my pulpit now and ask for a roll call.
Councilmember Noor,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Linder.
Yes, thank you very much. At this time, the City Council will recess to closed session. Tonight, we are on the agenda, we have conference with property negotiator, City Manager Craig Jones under Government Code Section 54956.8, parcel number 032-110-30. And item B is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, paragraph B, one undisclosed case. Thank you for being here tonight, and we are recessed to close